measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Click OK, Len, Christian, and a whole bunch of people in the Flipside Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Oi. Salut.
Hey everyone.
I am good, but also not so good. So I'm delighted that I'm actually doing what I consider to be my main job. This is my main job. And part of my main job is trimming up various parts of the show and producing shorts. Now, if I produce one a month, it wouldn't faze me. If I produce 10 a day, it wouldn't faze me. It's just whatever you've got to produce material with, you produce. And at the moment, I'm on fire because I've got loads of really good material. So Surf Daddy provided a list that had come from some random Facebook server. And in his own words, it was full of chat skanks and bots. And pasted this list into one of the internal discussion chats that we have. It's called Meet, formerly Skype. Anyway, I see this list. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, that is. There's a concise list of the Feast of Nonsense questions, as we would call them, right? Now, what I would have intended, or just literally started doing, was compiling a, glossary, I suppose you'd call it, or just a list of commonly asked baller questions. Now, this isn't that. This is commonly claimed to be flat earth proof question, proofsies, whatever you want to call them, that are offered up by people who are labelled flat earthers to suggest that they're living on a flat plane, more likely than not debunking a globe, right? Now, it isn't exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to make my list of commonly asked questions, but commonly held arguments is kind of even better, because it's akin to my current talking points, rhetoric, whatever you want to call that, where I suggest we, if you want to call us flat earthers, have been led to a subject matter, flat earth, from roads of conspiracy. And in Neil's words, all roads of conspiracy lead you to flat earth, which is to say that there's a certain type of person, a stereotype, that comes and talks about this subject, and they'll engage in Feast of Nonsense subject matters, ether and silicon trees and Mandela effect, and the list goes on and on and on. But those Feast of Nonsense subject matters only work their way in through the people, and if it's people that are promoting flat earth not for its flat measurements but for its association with an altered timeline or a tree that was formerly rising up to heaven, or whatever it is that's being peddled, free energy, it goes on and on and on, right? Then that muddies the waters of a discussion that's irrelevant to a debate, because there isn't one, between those people I've just described and the questions we're covering on this list, and people who are very devout about Earth being spherical. Heliocentrists in origin, we call them anti-flat earthers because they love to brace against the hippies and tree huggers who talk about Earth not being spherical, as opposed to that group with their list that we're covering currently, being the ones to talk about how Earth is measured flat. That group is nothing to do with the tree-hugging hippies or the anti-flat earthers, globe believers. That's a group of people called geographers and navigators and pilots. They're just dealing with Earth flat and utilising the flat Earth measurements that have charted the territory since before any of us existed. So they deal with Earth and its flat measurements separately to a group that call themselves flat earthers, who've been led to the subject by a via a conspiracy path to fight against people who are devout in their globe faith but don't appreciate their globe faith is based on the flat measurements used over here in the geography section. So it's nice to have a list to cover. Long story short, that's meant that I've been up till about 3 a.m. churning out members only shorts videos, admittedly also going on TikTok. So, if you wanted some content before it's strictly released to the public on this particular platform, it's been the case that I don't know how to schedule TikTok videos, so I just chuck them out as soon as I've done them. But there we go. On both this and the second channel, there's now a whole bunch of new material straight off that list from Surf Daddy. And I intend to continue doing it, but I've knackered myself out making the shorts videos from the previous live shows. So to answer your question, I'm very tired, but it's because there's an absolute crapton of members-only shorts and even music, which I'll play in a minute, that I've been generating off the back of a very, very insightful lifting of a list from a completely unrelated group. In quotes about Flat Earth. I would assume it's titled that way somehow. I'll ask Surf Daddy. Is the group that you got that list from actually titled something to do with Flat Earth, Surf Daddy? Is he even here? He's not even here. I'm asking, nobody's not here.
I got it. It's from Flat Earthers for Truth Only. It's a Facebook site. And the individual is named Autumn.
Gotcha. So as it is being peddled out as a, look how smart we are, we can show you how Neil deGrasse Tyson's talking about a chubby ball, or the distance to the geometric horizon derived from flat Earth measurements is beyond the limitations of what we see in this photo, therefore too far. All that kind of rhetoric is being pumped into that group via well-meaning. Again, just get this clear. I'm not suggesting that the people who do this are in any way evil or like shills. No, I think it's a path that's been laid in a means that makes it seem organic. So the people who wander along it are genuine people with a genuine interest in the subject, and they feel like they're well-meaning when they argue that the world's not spherical, ignoring, like the people that they're arguing with are ignoring, the fact that the Earth has to be measured flat to have that discussion and create a ball to say it isn't one. Now, they don't know that, and it took us however many years to get to the point where we can concisely summarise the Earth being measured flat and its separation from the so-called flat Earth debate. So how a well-meaning normal dude wandering around that path from his conspiracy interest into a subject of flat Earth to then be telling people how there must be a dome, etc., is that person's well-meaning, genuine interest in the subject and desire to pass that information on for genuinely good reasons. I don't see everybody as a fart sniffer, as we call them. I'm sure people are genuinely well-meaning. I was one of them from that point of view. I was in no way nefarious, and in my own mind, I can't remember a point where I'm like, I must be the next guru to tell the world the Earth is flat. I just wanted a subject that was evergreen for YouTube content. So it's not like I've ever wanted to be a flat Earth guru. I mean, there's a lot of people around me that have, I can assure you that, but that wasn't my ambition. So there we go. It's an interesting list. I will play you one of my fruits that I did develop in a moment after a little bit of chit chat about the Feast of Nonsense. Did anybody?
I want to know why you cut me off.
Oh, my bad. What did you say?
You were asking me to continue what I was talking about, and then you started the show.
Oh, what? You mean before the pre-show?
No, right? But towards the end of the pre-show, when you were getting ready to start the show, I'm talking, and I asked you a question, and the show was starting.
I mean, that's down to me wanting to keep a tight ship in timing terms. I just don't want to. I don't want to start late. I mean, it might be that my watch is off by a little bit. I mean, it's a mechanical watch, so it might be off slightly.
That's that high standard.
This watch isn't. It's not got a
But
quartz
starting the
crystal
show
in it.
on time is.
Anyway, can I play you my song? So I've got a couple. Should I play this one that's actually released? I sent this to Mark Sargent today. So after finishing it and producing a widescreen version of it, I then sent it off to Mark Sargent. So one of the things I've done for years and years with Mark is if I come across any music that's Flat Earth related, I'll send it to him. So for that reason, in the past couple of years, I've sent him several of Wandek's songs. Obviously, Where's the Guns, Nathan got sent to him by me. Just anything that I come across that's Flat Earth related. Because I remember him about 5 years ago, probably 10, saying, if you come across any Flat Earth music, send it to me. Here's my address. And I've done so ever since. So like I say, whether or not Mark Sargent picks up on this and does something with it, adds it to the Flat Earth playlist. I think that was the only thing he was suggesting, that it does it to the Flat Earth music playlist that he got on YouTube at the time. Whether or not he still does such a thing, I don't know, but I definitely still share the stuff with him, especially when it's my own. So this video is called The Feast of Nonsense, and I'd strung together a series of images for the thumbnails to this show. You'll see the most recent iteration of that when this show's finished. In other words, once the live show goes out, I'll take the thumbnail for today, add the show number to it, and then put it on the video once it's rendered. In other words, after live. So although this is 2540, FED show 2540, the thumbnail, if you clicked, and you'll be like, well, today's show's 2539, right? Well, no, that's yesterday's show. But after making the thumbnail, because I don't know what the show's going to be about normally, whereas in this instance, I do know exactly what the show's going to be about. I've already talked about it. It's about the Feast of Nonsense and how it's developed lots of shorts videos. So I already know exactly what today's show is going to be about because I've spent till 3 a.m. editing videos about it. So for that reason, I'd already developed yesterday's, the day before, and the day before that's thumbnail with the same theme. So I thought, well, if I make half a dozen more, I've then got a series that I can put together as a little film and then attach that to the music that I'd made for the Ether. I call it rap, but song, poem, however it started off, a set of words on a page. So that's what you're about to see. So this is called The Feast of Nonsense.
Without protestation or procrastination and at no risk of demonetization. The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and a perturbation and evaluation of a background radiation. When we view illumination, there is no postulation in my verbal masturbation. Because perception of the visualization of light emanation and the rotation toroidation of magnetization through vacuum evacuation. Show them Maxwellization, propagation with a motion demonstration, phase quantization via quantum induction validation. Long we view the Michelson Morley experimentation, showing consents and nation and liberation. With illumination, we're on vacation, at elevation, and hypnosis, deprivation. By interpretation. And that's a miniaturization of the ether explanation. If you lack in comprehension, it's because of your education. Did I mention the free power generation? Long live the ether! This declaration is not a theory, hypothesization.
Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980.
I must have heard that about, I don't know, 30 or 40 times in the last 6 to 8 months whilst editing the book, because that made it into one of the chapters. I think the chapter title's Ether, and at the end of the chapter I just said, I'll write a poem about this nonsense, and that was the poem. So it made it into the book, and every so often when going through the book editing it, either myself or my wife would be reading that out. So a couple of days back I read it to a live audience for the first time. I think previous renditions of it always been done in the recording stage of the show in case it goes terribly wrong, but because I've said it so many times or read it off a page so many times, it reached the point where I could rattle it off, record it, which I did, and then I fed that into Suno or whatever it is, me saying it, and then that's what it spat out. So there we go. That's The Feast of Nonsense by me, Nathan Oakley 1980. Cool,
Good,
huh?
that, Nathan. Enjoyed that.
I got the idea from you.
You
You said send me the ether lyrics and I'll put it through Suno, and I thought I'll do it myself. No offense to you, but you gave me the idea.
Oh, yeah, good stuff. I jumped out just to listen on YouTube because it's a bit in and out when you listen to it on the panel. So yeah, it sounded great, mate. Really, really enjoyed it. Nice one. I knew that'd sound good in a song. You know, put some music to it.
My only question is, will they understand it's sarcastic?
Doesn't matter. It's a song, so it doesn't matter. It's for once you make stuff into the material like that, songs, artwork, it then immediately becomes the property of somebody who's listened to it, right? I can't control the interpretation of someone's ear holes. Do you know what I mean? There was another one as well.
Those in the know will know.
Well, maybe, maybe people listen to it and interpret the lyrics in the way that I wrote them, but that isn't really relevant once it becomes a song. That's not what it's for anymore, is it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. And I just people saying Nathan's promoting Ether now.
No, on the contrary. Well, the song's called The Feast of Nonsense, so if you can't read in between the lines, then you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anyway, this is a different version, but I'm not going to... The reason you've got the radar screen, so if you're watching this, right, you're currently going to be looking at the radar screen, and the reason is because as a placeholder for this particular Suno creation with my lyrics pumped into it and me telling it what I wanted it to output, I got a song that I was delighted with, but I'm like, well, I've got nothing to put it on as a video, so I need a placeholder. So I went through my iPad and just found a video of Clover singing something into one of my microphones, and I'm sure I was recording it at the time for whatever project she was doing for Brownies or wherever, one of her classes or something, but I hadn't used that on YouTube, and I'm like, well, that's a good enough placeholder. I'll just cut her face off and just have the microphone, it's just so there's something on screen. But as soon as I did it, it ended up being the case that they censored this image. So hopefully you can see that on screen. Yes, you can. So for that reason, I'm not actually going to play it with any video. I'll just play it out with audio only, just so that this video doesn't suddenly get clamped down on because it's got my kid in it. Anyway.
Without protestation or procrastination, and at no risk of demonetization. The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and a perturbation in the variation of a background radiation when we view illumination. There is no postulation in my verbal masturbation, because perception of the visualization of light emanation in a rotation, toroidation, and magnetization through vacuum evacuation show the Maxwellization propagation with the motion demonstration phase quantization via quantum induction validation.
Right, you get the general idea. There's one other which I will play. I'll leave my radar screen up just while I bring it up. So that one was a possibility, and then I did one that actually did make it to a video, which you can see, but like I say, it's just been censored worse than any video I've put up on TikTok. It ended up with about 5 views, with the videos either side getting about 150, 200, 300, you just watch them rise, with this one in between the two of them getting about 5 views. Anyway, this almost made it to the completed video, which I've, like I said at the start of this, sent off to Mark Sargent, the one that's actually you'll see. This one you probably won't.
The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and the perturbation and the variation of a background radiation when we view illumination. There is no postulation in my verbal masturbation, because perception of the visualization of light emanation in a rotation, toroidation of magnetization through vacuum evacuation showed the Maxwellization propagation with a motion demonstration phase quantization via quantum induction validation where we view the Michelson.
Anyway, like I say, you get the general idea. at this. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in my time, making music and putting ether lyrics to videos so I can get them out on YouTube, along with, like I say, about 20 different shorts videos that I've currently got waiting to go out to the public. But if you are a member, you can see all of them now. By chance, if you're a TikTok subscriber, you can also get them. As I said already, I don't know how to delay the publication of them on TikTok. But if you're a member, you can get them right here. Right, so they'll come out over the next 2-3 weeks. I'll just put out maybe 1 or 2 a day. But my anticipation is there's going to be more of these. I just didn't anticipate it being such a huge amount of work. So if I look knackered and red-eyed, it's because I'm absolutely exhausted. But we will still go through a few today, maybe 2 or 3, not 10, because I don't want to do that much editing work as it's Thursday. And there's going to be a curry tomorrow. So yeah, we'll just do a couple today.
Hey Nathan, I did like all them. I did like all them versions, particularly like the second one. But like I do it sometimes on that Suno, it is quite addictive because you put it in and you choose styles and do different things, and then you might do another version. You think, oh, I really like that as well, and it's got a different vibe. Even though it's the same lyrics, it's got like a different vibe. It makes you feel a bit differently. So, but I mean, that's what you used to get on all records, wasn't it? When you bought like a 12-inch vinyl, you'd get the original version and maybe a couple of remix versions on the B side, on the flip side. #flip side.
Nathan,
Yes.
I had to jump out to YouTube, but I see that I think Sasha's trying to catch up.
Yeah, I've got his super chat. He says, next month will be 6-7. Maybe I'll make a joke about that. Levelization of profile elevation and the miles like direction sensation. Thank you very much for the super chat. Right, there's going to be a short interlude because I am going to have to try and find that list again in Master B. Hopefully I can find it a bit quicker today as I know roughly where it is.
Why don't they just send it to your private messages so you know, go there and it's there.
Fine. I'm sure I can find it. No big problem. Here we go. So yesterday we got to, I think, 20, I'm going to say.
I think you started on 20, maybe. Yeah, you're around 2022.
Yeah, we got to 22.
We only did 2 yesterday.
Yeah, so now it's 23. Let's just read it out. Let's go on camera. So, photo forensics show NASA faked the Earthrise during moon landings. So this is a specific reference to Bart Sibrel, I would assume, where there's a video where it's alleged Bart Sibrel received a tape accidentally from NASA that showed them in a set putting a cardboard cutout against a window that alleges to be them in a rocket ship at high altitude just filming the ground. And with a little bit of visual magic and cardboard cutouts and changing the depth of field of the camera, they can make a circular window look like a ball earth in a sky vacuum with a Terminator line. I assume that's what it's in reference to. Who wants to talk about
were they up?
Yeah, that Bart Sibrel documentary is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon.
Yes, so the movie is Bart Sibrel's creation called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. If you actually want to watch that documentary, which alleges to have accidentally released to Bart Sibrel footage from NASA. And he's been on many shows. Most recently that I saw was Russian Vids, formerly Russian Vids, now RV Truth. I hope he's still got the same YouTube channel name. But RV Truth had him on and interviewed him as a fellow Christian, even though Bart Sibrel's far less conspiratorial than RV. But it was an interesting discussion between the two of them. And Bart Sibrel's dislike of flat earthers kind of puts me off him a little bit. Now, back then, I kind of, maybe now, past tense, empathise with this position because I kind of pour scorn on flat earthers, which I was one of at the time, that he didn't want to be associated with. Now, given that we've identified a lot of feaster nonsense that goes alongside the subject of flat Earth, where we've got the ballers and the fart sniffers and the anti-globers over here versus geography, well, he would have been bracing against this group of flat earthers. So, kind of think fair enough. Maybe I'll come back to Bart Sibrel and have another look at his work moving into the future. Shout out to you, Toxfemu. Neil, you need to grow up. Well, thank you for the super chat. Having a moan and a pop at one of the panel via the super chat. I'm in mixed feelings about that, Sasha, but thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, shout outs to Unitoxemu again. He's sent a membership. So, who is it? Leona Lynn got the membership. Thank you very much, Unitoxemu.
Just having to think about this list.
No matter what you do, Sasha, you can't catch up. Forget it.
Okay, whatever. Go ahead, one deck.
Just on the list, like obviously you've just been discussing that, and CC explained it. This is what's going about on some Facebook, and this is the information being pushed forward. I've noticed like a lot of it on the list, like this one you've just read out. It's all really talking about like NASA's fake or space is fake, which again is nothing really to do with the measurement of the surface of Earth. And they go right round the houses to try and debunk space, where, you do it in one or two sentences regarding, if there was an area of space 10 to the minus 17 so the gas would fill it. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. And that's all you really need, isn't it, Nathan?
Nah, that's surplus to requirements. They're at what? Bart Sabrell? Sorry, they're alleged to be at a low Earth orbit. Yeah, you're going to need to measure a flat Earth from sea level to describe how low they are, with an altitude ascribed to this alleged sky vacuum trip. To take a picture from a low Earth orbit, yeah, Earth gets measured flat for altitude. If you're going to describe topographical deviations or elevation of aircraft, then you're describing it from a master reference known as sea level, mean sea level, specifically. Measured flat also, but that's how perpendicular altitude is ascribed to describe something in a low Earth orbit, regardless of whether or not it's violating the second law of thermodynamics by being in alleged sky vacuum, or near to the Kármán line if they're only in low Earth orbit. You'll need a height above a flat Earth for that. So as far as my concerns are with the nonsense subject matter of rocket ships and spacecraft in Narnia after traversing through the wardrobe that is the high-pressure gas, not dispersing into the area beyond the wardrobe, akin to Narnia, called outer space, their altitude is still measured off a flat Earth. Can we move on to the next one? Any more? I thought that would generate more discussion. So Bart Sabrell's
just
films
one complaint, like a subscriber.
Say again, Sasha?
Just one complaint, like a subscriber, if I can say. Maybe that's not valid. Maybe not valid, like a good complaint, but I want to say.
You can say whatever you like. It's an open bar.
Yeah, because for example, I could leave today now in this moment and everything, but I don't know if that will be reaction. Maybe I will do it, in 5 minutes. I will think about that now. But the thing is this: I want to ask you, Nathan. Do you think, Nathan, that it's good that one member of your panel saying that I will never catch up whatever I do? Do you want, Nathan, that I stop to do what I'm doing?
Shut the fuck up, Sasha.
No, Neil, I'm not speaking with you. Sorry, Neil, I'm speaking with Nathan.
If you want my answer, you can do whatever you like. Same thing applies. I just said to you, you can feel free to say whatever you like. Same goes for Neil.
Yeah.
Now, while those might be incongruent with each other,
I'm asking you a question. Do you want that I stop? Do you want that I stop to do what I'm doing in your show?
Do I want you to stop what you're doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What do you think what I'm doing?
You're asking me if it's okay for Neil to have a pop at you.
Can you tell me what I'm doing, Nathan, in the last 5 years in your show?
What you've been doing in the last 5 years? Watching Flat Earth debate?
Yeah. And what else I'm doing?
What else are you doing? You mean in terms of your support?
I'm some kind of let's put me on the last place. Put me on the last place of the Patreon. Can I be that?
Can you be the last place on the Patreon?
Yeah.
Know what that means?
That means if there are people who are Patreons, let's say there are 72 people of Patreons, can I be on 72nd place?
I don't know if that's possible. I don't see why not. I don't understand your point, though, Sasha. What are you driving at?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
That super chats, that shits, that money, that shits, that materialism, whatever. What's that? Is that some kind of what's that? Is that a law? Is that what's that?
What are you asking me? I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I'm asking. Do you want that I stop to do that, or is this that nice? Like with people, some people exchanging something with good things, and also with materialism.
With what? Whatism? I didn't hear the word.
Materialism, like a money.
Materialism?
Yeah.
What about materialism? I didn't hear the rest of the question then. Sorry.
Like giving super chats, being membership, giving money.
What about it?
Is that okay? Is that okay?
That's the main purpose of me being here, to earn a living, Sasha. So do I want more Patreons? Yes. Am I grateful to the Patreons I've got? Yes. If that's what you're asking. Very grateful.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, my question is how I need to catch up, because, there is some kind of, I don't know, is there morality or stuff? I don't understand what is going on.
You're asking me. I haven't said those words, though. That's Neil.
I know, Nathan.
Sure. So
you could say something like this. Neil, can you please not invoke Sasha, because doesn't matter. Don't make
Nathan to reprimand Neil.
Hold on.
Listen, you
Hold on.
dirty bastard.
Both you stop a second,
on the other
please.
side of
Hello.
town, all right?
I'm trying to run a live
Piece
show. Hello. Trying to run a live show. Let's just answer Sasha's question. No, I can't do that. In the same way, when you joined, you asked me if you were okay to ask something or interject or moan. I can't remember how you phrased it. I was like, you can say whatever you like. It's an open bar. Now, that means you can come in and you can moan about Neil. Now, I'll put my iPad down, even though we're in the middle of the Feast of Nonsense questions. This is you wanting to do this, and I'm all for it. In the same way, Neil's wanted to moan about the thieves stealing my 5th draft for the last week or two, or however long it's been that it's been a bee in his bonnet. Now, I don't want to be so fickle. I'm answering you, Sasha.
Did I do that?
I'm answering you. He can feel free to do that. And likewise, if you want to moan about Neil, you are also free to do that. Now, Neil's not under any obligation to stay if he doesn't like you moaning about him. He can bugger off. Now, that's me saying it's inconsequential if Neil stays. From that perspective, he's under no obligation to stay. He's under no obligation to go away. He's under no obligation to not talk about something or talk about something. But same rules apply to you, which is why we're having this discussion. And I want you to feel free to be able to do that.
Sorry, but listen, but it's how to say, it's a little bit hypocritical, because if I start, for example, if I jump and say Neil is this, Neil is doing that, or whatever, and it should not be Neil even, you will let me that I speak, yes. Leave Sasha to speak whatever he wants. No, you will not. You will say that I don't speak about people. We don't want whatever. I am the part of what I did. This was the 66 months. That means let's write something, because I have dear Nathan. This is normal thing. You're doing you're putting the super chat, that membership chat, what you have every 1 month. I'm sometimes writing some shit. Sometimes you wrote and said, I don't know what Sasha said. I don't know even. I wanted to joke, whatever, And I'm here, and now I need to catch up, because he has some kind of morality. I didn't do anything. I didn't steal the book. I didn't do anything. That's between your friends. You remember that story, friends and shits? And whatever, and Neil, I said, don't put name. Don't.
I'm not putting any burden on you. I'm not doing that.
I said my opinion. I said everything. Do you want to repeat about that? Yeah, they said everything. There was only one book. I know only about one book. Understand me?
But I haven't got a beef with you. I've not got issue. My issue.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm trying to respond to you, Sasha. I'm trying to respond to you. Okay.
Sorry.
I haven't got a beef with you. I've got no issue with you being here, or anybody. It's an open bar. The door's open, right? For the majority of the show, it's the scumbags that have come in, because there's been an open door policy. So you end up with scummy people coming in. who dislike the outcome and then report me to social services and things that are much worse than Neil calling you a few names, right? So let's just put that into context for a second. Now, if you're saying, what, are you going to jeopardize my money? Yes. If you don't like someone else having their opinion because it's incongruent with whatever you want to do, or in this case, Neil doesn't like you because you're supporting people who've stolen from me. That's the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be here.
That's strong word.
I'm still answering you, Sasha. I'm still answering you. I'm not saying you shouldn't be here.
I cannot. I must interrupt you. Sorry, Nathan.
Third attempt.
Okay, sorry.
You've asked me and I'm trying to answer you. I'm not saying you should be here or shouldn't be here. When you support the show, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to extend my sincere gratitude to all who support me. But that will not compromise what the show is. So if someone comes along and says, for example, unless you do this on your show, I won't do this for you. That never works on me. Yeah? It doesn't work like that. You're like, oh, right, because you've supported me financially, you think that means you have some control over me? No. I'm still grateful.
I never thought about that, never had that expression, never had that opinion.
You just said it, Sasha. Are you kidding me? You don't hear the words that come out of your own mouth? You basically asked Nathan to tell me to shut the fuck up.
I will
That's
occasionally.
Man, what are you? No, don't use that bad word because I will start to swear also. It's not nice, Neil. Stop it, Stop it, please.
I forgot. They got a picture you gave them on the wall.
Stop it,
Okay,
please.
I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there, both of you. Right. The point here is, Sasha, right? I could empathise with Neil's plight because Neil's plight's my plight. Now, my indifference to my own plight in this regard means that I can be indifferent to the support you offer to others and still be grateful for the support you offer me in isolation. But that won't change the format of the show. I'll listen once to what someone's got to say. If they continue to repeat the same thing, then I will tell them to shut up. But I generally, if you go back even when it's complete scumbags, will listen to what they've got to say once. I'll let them get to the end. I'll keep people off them if they're opposing us, so they get out what they've got to say once. So everyone gets to hear the issue laid on the table. Now, from that point, there's a good chance that in rebuttal, perceived to be so, it's not so much the case now. There is no rebuttal, there's no debate. But when there was a perception that there was a rebuttal to come, there's a good chance that person who's had the airwaves cleared for the point to be made by them will get annoyed and start interrupting the rebuttal almost immediately. In which case, yeah, you do have to tell guests to shut up. But in this instance, Neil's disdain is something that's tolerable. Your support of people who've stolen from me, as far as I am concerned, is tolerable because my indifference to what they do, in this case, let's call it get supported by yourself, is inconsequential to me and what I do. The only connection that's still there is the fact that there's a chapter in the book that's about to come out about this event. Now, Neil has a certain amount of disdain for this event, which is 8 months old. It's already been turned into a chapter in a book that's yet to be released. So my disdain's 8 months old. It's very old hat for me. But Neil's disdain is fresh for whatever reason. I won't speak for Neil.
Okay, I'm not saying that what I did, it was like a good thing or whatever, but that was not nothing comparing. Like I was not. That was strong words at times. So I stopped to go there. I was that 2 times there. Even Neil is more there than me. Doesn't matter. I don't. How to say? I don't support them anymore. I don't want to hear them anymore.
Okay, good. All right, it's over then, Sasha.
Neil, if you want to, I don't know. That day was that day, what I did.
Okay, Sasha, hold on.
And I did that for the guy. I explained it to you.
Slow down.
Can I finish?
Slow down, Sasha.
Yeah, just let him get
only
to the
to
end.
finish 2 sentences.
Only,
and I told you that was on the chat. That was one guy, and he was like saying, Sasha, you are here now or something. He was teasing me, and I for my purpose sending all that super chat, saying what the fuck and fucking some money, give it, let's give it to them, something like that. But it was not nothing to like, I'm supporting them because of QE. There is one book. It was Nathan Booker. I know all of that. I know all the story. A story about Adam
Okay, we got all
supporting.
that.
We will edit.
Is there anything else?
Blah blah blah. Yeah,
We got all that.
Sorry.
No worries. Go ahead, Neil.
Okay, so let's move forward. I won't harass you no more. You say you don't go there no more? That's fine.
Just for clarity, do whatever you like. If you're watching me say these words, you do whatever you like, right? Now, when you're in my company, you might get scorned if you've associated with thieves. That's in the here and now, right? Now, there are certain people who have associated with people who've stolen from me that will get the exact same treatment if they're directly affiliated or party to the theft of my material. You know, I will call you a whore of Satan if you've associated yourself with someone who's stolen from me. Now, there's going to be people out there that don't like that. I've already heard that there's some people who actually oppose this. They're also our enemies that have suddenly lifted up their frilly little frock and gone, woo! Very amusing.
But Nathan, listen,
Yes.
this is hypocrisy. I'm not like this, but let's say that I am the company, Amazon, biggest company, and I'm supporting you like with what, 2 billion pounds. But I'm supporting the thieves of you with 1,000 pounds. And then you will say, oh, this fucking Amazon is satanic because he's supporting with 2 billion pounds, but they're supporting with that 1,000 pounds.
Uh-oh.
I don't really understand the analogy.
But,
Amazon's
but
not supporting
people
me.
doing that, they're supporting and this and that, and I'm not that. I'm not that shit,
This podcast is
I'm
not brought to you by...
I left that fucking server. I'm not with them. It was also, you said friend, it touched me. I don't know how much touched Neil, it touched me, but it doesn't matter, that shit.
No, we do need to talk this through, so show us on
if
the
I
doll.
want to talk, I will talk privately with you.
You can show us on the doll where he touched you.
Yeah, touch me. Catch me, touch me. It touched
Sasha,
me,
I won't break
know,
your chops no more, Sasha.
It touched me in a sense of all this flat earth, let's say, community. Can I say it like that?
You can say whatever
Because
you like. Just don't repeat yourself.
Yeah, you had the Jaron story drama, this story drama, this witty drama, 24/7. You can name it. People want to. The QE is making shows about them, who they are. Drama, 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 and it's all about why I'm here because it's sea level, and that's it.
Okie dokie.
That's why I'm here.
But yeah, most people don't give a toss about my plight, Sasha, and I'm very grateful that you do, but there's no obligation to. But likewise, as you asked specifically about it, you don't have to support me financially, right? That's not something that's you're obliged to do. And by the same token, if you were like, well, either do this or I'll retract my financial support, you're like, do what you feel is the best thing to do, right? I'm grateful that people support me financially. I'm grateful when I was offered help editing my book. Obviously, if you then turn around and steal from me, I'm going to be a little bit peeved. That's natural, right? But, I'll accept support where people offer it. And support doesn't always come in the form of financial support. And it doesn't come when they steal from you necessarily in terms of people actually taking money from you either. But that's just life, Like I say, the reason you and Neil have had a head-to-head butting, or however you want to describe it, is because of this disdain that is long, deep-seated, let's just say, for a lot of the panel. Now, because I'm pretty fickle, which is to say that you're not obliged to come in the bar, you don't have to come in, you don't have to buy drinks, that's to say financially support me by giving me money for whatever it is that you see as the product on offer when you support me financially. Me being able to do it, I obviously need to pay the mortgage and people support me financially so I can continue to make the show. So I get it, but nobody's under any obligation. You can come and watch the show for free. The people who absolutely despise me will only watch the show for free and they're not going to offer any financial support whatsoever. Chances are they're going to skip every ad that comes in front of them. So from that point of view, nobody's under any obligation to be here, to not be here, to talk about something, to not talk about something. I can't force anybody's hand in that regard. I can only choose the company I keep. That's it. And hold standards while I'm in this space, which I run. Now, there's rules and regs that YouTube hold over me, as opposed to Amazon in your comparative example. But those rules will be adhered to, and most of the rules hinge around societal common decency anyway, like their common sense, in spite of some people objecting to them because of the perception of censorship. The only censorship is when they censor you. That's to say, preclude others from seeing your stuff. That happens too, but I'm grateful that I'm capable of doing what I do, right? Now, even in the dramatic circumstances of being betrayed, that's still cause for making content, and there's going to be people who want to discuss it, people who want to rub it in, people who want to antagonise other members of the panel because of some wrongdoing against me, against other panel members. That's life, right? That's people and events around people. Very low brow, but very engaging.
Then can I try with because I did it in the past. I did it the conflict resolution. Neil, listen to me. Whatever I did, I don't know how I can now, be again human, But can you leave me without that drama, because I don't want to be part of that drama. I'm not part of that. I'm not that guy.
What's that, Neil?
That's it.
He says 20 lashings and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I already said, fine, Sasha.
Okay,
No
that's all right. Yeah. Just I because it's easy to fight, man. Relax. Everything with me. It's really chilly.
Well, don't you think that shocked the shit out of me when I seen Sasha over there?
Not only you, a lot of them.
All right.
This is a live
we're
show,
good.
guys.
Again,
this is like tuning into the news and the presenters are arguing with each other.
When that happened, 6 months ago, that happened, I think. When that happened.
Well, if the one anchor's had an affair with the other anchor's husband, that's going to make it to air.
All right, come on.
Nathan,
we put it under
when
the
that
rug.
happened, that night, that stolen book, that drama started 6 months ago.
8 months ago. Strictly speaking, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that's what came out, let's say, for all of us.
I don't know what you're asking. When did the drama... the drama's still happening.
Exactly,
yeah,
Nathan.
When I remember the time when Adam started to say, and I didn't understand shit because he had somebody stole computer, there was robbery, something. It was like, what is happening, or something like. It was like, oh really? It happened to you that somebody stole your computer, or something like that.
Well, there's actually been a break in that case. Apparently, the getaway car had the number plate Globe 1. Police are looking into it.
But
I thought you had some serious news.
That was like a month ago. From that day, when they started that shit, I didn't go there anymore.
Anyway, any more on this? Fun
now you're contradicting yourself. Hold on a second. Now you're contradicting yourself. You said you didn't go there. You were there 4 or 5 times since that started. That's why we're having this argument.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you were freaking super chatting them.
I was 15 minutes there and to see what people are saying and go out. That I'm saying. I'm not. I was there for 4 or 5 hours every day, every time, and he's there. Do you understand me? Every time.
Like a wife grinning at the husband. You were with that whore. You were with her. Got photos.
This could all be. Listen, this could all be passed over. You have to do one thing, Sasha.
I was not there. I'm sorry.
Oh no, wait.
I'm sorry.
Sasha, let me finish. You got to do one thing. You got to get that picture back from QE, and then all is forgiven.
You don't have to do anything. Right, let's move on.
No, that was that time when I thought that everything is.
I'm only
I don't know.
kidding.
That means that Nathan should be sorrow for the past. You cannot change the past, man. And past was QE was good in the past. How to say it? If Nathan was friend of him, do you understand what you're saying? You cannot change the past. Now it doesn't matter anymore.
I think there's a chapter about all this in the book. Anyway, when the book comes out, we can all have a good read of that.
Read all about this in the chapter named Betrayal. Read all about it in my upcoming book. And we're going to move on. So we're going to move on to this. So we've only done 2 of the 60 Feast of Nonsense questions, but nevertheless, it's in keeping with the last question. So, more than one light source during the moon landing footage. So this follows on from the suggestion that there is a bit of finagling with the imagery from a round window in the shuttle at low Earth orbit, measured off sea level, flat Earth prerequisites in tow. And now we've got, well, when they were on the moon, having traversed through a sky vacuum in an orbital motion, derived from flat Earth prerequisites also, scaled by Huygens, assuming that Venus has the same flat Earth measured radial value, to give us a distance, to suggest that they can put in motion something that derives its values from the centre of hell in a mathematical convention derived from flat Earth measurements to get them there. Once they arrive, having traversed the high-pressure gas we're all breathing, entering a volume that the gas we're breathing at high pressure isn't dispersing into, in violation of the second law, they land, and then there's more than one light source. Yeah, it's on a set. That's not the most obvious tell that it's on a set. The most obvious tell for the moon landing being shite, stop-motion 60s garbage animation with a bit of real footage filmed on a soundstage is the backdrop. So the backdrop is the thing that gives it away. The fact that it's obviously painted canvas or rear projection in some instances. Now, they show you the guy, I can't remember the other guy, Collins or whichever one of them was the photorealistic artist, painting pictures of the moon and then showing that there was a rail system around the painting so that they could film it. You're like, what? Like to do the stop motion animation of the landing? So they'll literally show you every technique that they used to produce the footage. They just lay it all out there. It's blatant. Now, the reality is, this is a story that takes place in Narnia. If you want to believe that you can go through the wardrobe, traversing the high-pressure gas we're all breathing, and enter a fantasy land, then that's up to you. Meanwhile, any ballistic trajectories or measurements of altitude will be taken with respect to the actual measurements of Earth, and they're flat. So there's an incongruence with the claimed trajectory they'd have to take in an orbital motion when you juxtapose how that mathematical inference of a path to take comes from its origins in flat Earth measurements. When you understand that you can't violate the base principle measurement of the surface level to give you altitudes and orbital motions, when the orbital motions and what distance is to a moon, actually a flat Earth altitude, and derivation in an orbital motion scaled by Huygens, requires you violate the base principle of the measurements you're taking to create things like the radial values to put them into an orbital motion. You can't get to a radial value spherical that they've made by inference and calculation unless you measure Earth flat to get it, which means that you're violating the base measurement of Earth and its flat surface to create the system called orbit and get a distance to the moon by way of Huygens scaling it with the transit of Venus, after assuming its, Venus, has the same radial value by pure assumption as Earth's flat measurement of a radial value. So all of those assumptions in tow invalidate any of the trajectories that are suggested to take them to the moon. So before you get to the point where you can start analysing the stage show that it obviously is, the performance that it obviously is, you've got to understand why they definitely didn't traverse a sky vacuum and enter what is suggested to be a place to land. The moon's not a place to land, it's a light in the sky. That's to suggest that you've traversed the actual land, the terra firma we stand on, into the sky where there's more land. The land's on the ground. The lights in the sky are in the sky. There's no land in the sky. This is a nonsense notion. They can debunk it based on the suggestion that you can get to a light that's land when the land's beneath you. Requires you measure the land beneath you flat, and then immediately violate it by calculation into orbital motion and scale with Huygens assumptions. Hence, it's all nonsense. Clearly and obviously nonsense, without you having to necessarily debunk the stage show, which in most of what I've just said I haven't. Other than pointing out there's an obvious backdrop and it's obvious 70s stop motion animation. I say 70s, even though you could say, well, surely you'd call it 60s. NASA are generally ahead of the curve. What we got from 70s animators wasn't cutting edge when they were using it for our indulgement, because it was used on the cutting edge by people like NASA in the 60s. So what you see in terms of how movies are produced for NASA now will be relatable in 10 years from now in what we get at the cinema. That's how it works. NASA are on the cutting edge of cinematography. Not space travel. Space is Narnia. Anybody else got anything to add on the lights being at different angles in the stage show known as the moon landing? Anyone want to add anything to that?
I'll just add, you talked about the pressure that we breathe, that pressure that we breathe. Yeah, the starting point for measuring that pressure is sea level also, and it's measured horizontally at different altitudes above the zero reference measurements we call mean sea level.
Mm-hmm. No matter where you go, there's a flat Earth.
Godzilla says, member for 64 months. In 64 months, I've learned Neil is always watching. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla 37.
Me and God have this joke going on for a long time. He's been in and out of the chat, but he's been around for a long time. And that was the joke. I'd be saying, God, I'm watching you.
Hey, we've got time for one more. The United Nations logo is an azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole-centric globe projection. Who wants to have that?
Does it work?
I mean, yeah. Works in certain aspects. It's incorrect. It's not accurate in terms of its layout. So one of the very early things we did on this channel was track the sun on a flat Earth live. And one of the inconsistencies we demonstrated a couple of times was that the solar zenith of the sun, as according to the time designation on the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, also used for the UN logo, map, flag, whatever, was out by about an hour in certain locations at the... when did we do it? The equinox? I think we did it so long ago, I can't even remember when we did it now. Anyway, we showed that it didn't match, so the sun was not above the land it suggested it would be above at the given time that the map said it would be there. Very disappointing, because at the time we were trying to confirm that that was an accurate depiction of the world beneath our feet. It's not, it's an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection. The globe being derived from flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements to the sun and Polaris, vernal equinox being the only day that it functions to create the globe, to project it in an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, otherwise known as the AE or Gleason's as it is map. Nevertheless, it's not accurate. It's pretty good though, it's not bad. You know, it works in the functionality that it suggests it should be worked. And
does it work in the south?
Say again?
Does it work in the south?
As in opposite to north horizontally? I don't know, it doesn't match with what I've checked so far. Beyond that, I don't care. It's like once you found out it's an inaccurate representation of the world, what else matters? It's kind of inconsequential. It's wrong. You want it to be more wrong? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, but there's people that will not give that map up.
Oh, whoever was crackling. Len.
How many map projections are there? There's quite a few, and are any accurate? They're all distort
No, again, there's a section on this on my upcoming book in a chapter called The Offing, where I go into the expansion of the known territories beyond the horizon and the expansion of the known worlds, and how governments and kings, queens, whoever it is that's authorising the cartography, will gerrymander and propagandise these maps for their own ends. So, unfortunately, the mapping process and the cartography process is, generally speaking, open to manipulation by people who benefit in a power capacity from distorting certain land masses, and there's various other aspects of moving people around the territories, essentially as slaves, to do certain tasks, right, work. So to incentivize individuals to do that of their own volition, they can use maps to propagandize people in that way. There's all sorts of things more familiar to people who've gone through the education system in the Western world, will be gerrymandering, moving borders in terms of getting different voting outcomes. That's a more modern version of a similar sort of thing. But are there any accurate maps? No, not to my knowledge. What we did was expand the known territories with axiomatic flat Earth principles like elevation angles and horizontal azimuth and directionality with degrees from north. So with these flat Earth prerequisites in tow, you can see that the maps, this is something that you can say with certainty, went from quite basic with a limited amount of land and expanded out in terms of the amount of territory that we know the world has got. Now, while we're talking previously about going to the soil in the sky that the moon, the light that we've got is supposed to be, that in known history has never been the case in terms of the expansion of the actual known territories that we have mapped and charted. In every single instance, they were always found, as is the chapter of my book, beyond the offing, aka the horizon, the lands beyond your visual experience. That's how we expanded the maps, as I say, from the most early that I know of, which is the Mappa Mundi in Hereford Cathedral, basic map, expanded out to what we now know today as the known territories. Every single one found by a man being able to go out to an area that he didn't know what was there and find his way back by use of celestial navigation, elevation angles and directionality in the horizontal with north, south, east and west. I can't wait to flog my book in earnest. Right at the moment I'm just warming up, going, that's in the chapter known as the offing. It'll be nice when I can actually point to a link below. And I can feel it, it's coming, it's really close. But I can't wait to actually, like I say, actually do that in sincerity. I'm doing it on my own show. It'll be a lot more interesting when I'm chatting to somebody else, a third party, hopefully with a light to plugging my book. But I find a weaselly way to get it in when someone starts talking about the expansion of the territories. I'm like, in my book.
Yeah, there was somebody in chat asking what's the story with it. I just told him it's in the publisher's hands right now.
It came back to me temporarily over the weekend. So on Friday, I was set a date for this coming Friday. I think what we're on now, 25th, 22nd. So the idea was that I would do the final sign off on the 22nd, and then the idea being that it'd take about another week and actually get published by the end of the month. Now, I didn't actually say that when I was told that about 2 weeks ago. I just kept saying a couple more weeks. But the sign off that could have been was last Friday, but I ended up making alterations. As I anticipate I've caused a little bit more of a delay, but I wanted to incorporate a specific aspect of a recent debate point because of the map reading company, Wayne. So not only did I weasel in the fact that it'd been about the 33rd copyright strike that I'd received in 12 years from scumbags that just don't like you and would rather see your channel with 9 million views be put in jeopardy because a video with 800 views has got their ugly mug on it. Therefore, they've got a little weaselly way of saying, I'm going to have your channel or put it in jeopardy when I use this to feed my kids. That didn't necessarily get such an elaborate description. I just described how it was a copyright strike received and then a discussion after the fact. Once I've then relinquished that problem caused by this individual, suddenly there's a suggestion that I should be discussing flat earth subjects like the wrong direction fallacy, which is to suggest that a vertical orientation gives you north as the top of something. No, it doesn't. North's not up. North is horizontal. You describe in horizontal degrees north, so you can give azimuth or degree directions from north for north, south, east and west in a horizontal orientation. That's what north is. Now, to suggest otherwise is to utilise something that's actually got a name, the wrong direction fallacy. But I wanted to incorporate that because it tied the story together quite nicely. Because I wanted to explain what's the point of having a molten iron core that suggests that we've got a north-south orientated magnetic field inside a ball. Well, it's a way of distracting red herring away from the actual practical use of the magnetic field when we navigate with it. Flat. So if you can start talking about whether or not the core is self-perpetuating, whether or not we've dug deep enough to know what's in the core, whether or not the flat earth prerequisite measurements in seismological terminology, that's P waves and S waves, are giving us a globe depth to the molten iron core that self-perpetuates, that gives us the vertically orientated magnetic field. It's not. It's a flat Earth prerequisite that's been used to expand the territories. Not to go to the frickin' moon, to expand out the territories beyond the offing. So I wanted to tie the use by Wayne of the wrong direction fallacy to the need to even have a molten iron core in the rhetoric of heliocentrism. What you need to do is distract from the flat Earth prerequisite directionality afforded you by magnetic field lines and suggest that generally, according to, quote, Wayne, North's at the top. No, it's not. So that worked its way into the book. So by divine intervention, by providence, whatever you want to call it, at the point that I'm getting the book back to do the final sign-off from the publisher, I'm going, well, it's here in a Word document. I mean, what's stopping me adding this? So I did. And then it took me all weekend.
See, that's what you don't realize when you're going to do a little something and being around the editing process for a while. It's a lot of work writing a book. It's a lot of work working out a paragraph.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, smashing the super chat. Massive shout out to, was it Gourdzilla and Sasha? Thank you very much indeed to both of you. Also, anyone who, after the fact, smashes the super thanks, hits me up on PayPal, joins as a patron, all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat Earth king of rhyme.